George Miller's Furiosa has now been released in theatres, and it's another great entry in the Mad Max Saga. It's a film that leads well into the events of Fury Road, but as a prequel, it does work as its own successful piece too. So in this explained analysis, I'm going to be giving you my breakdown of Furiosa, discussing plot details, the ending, and some of the Fury Road connections too. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the film yet, then I would recommend checking it out before watching my analysis. Before I get into it though, if you want to see more videos on Furiosa, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into my explained video for Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga. So Anya Taylor-Joy takes the lead as Furiosa in the new Mad Max film, and George Miller's latest addition in his long-lasting series delves into the character's backstory, a figure originally portrayed by Charlize Theron in 2015's Fury Road. Furiosa's story, much like in Fury Road, is straightforward, and we learn that she dedicates years to finding her way back home, a place she was also trying to get to in the previous film. Over the course of 15 years, she guards a peach seed from the green place, a precious reminder of her past innocence and optimism. In the post-apocalyptic wasteland, the new installment opens with a glimpse into a world ravaged by societal, ecological, and nuclear catastrophes. The once sprawling Australian outback now lies barren and desolate, except for a hidden oasis known as the Green Place. And this sanctuary is protected by the Vuvalini, a group of fierce women known as the Many Mothers. The film opens with a young Furiosa, the daughter of the Vuvalini leader Mary Jo Bussa, alongside her friend Valkyrie as they pick apples in the lush forests of the Green Place. Their peacefulness is quickly ended though, as a biker gang intrudes upon their territory, setting the stage for a tense confrontation between the women and the unwelcome visitors. Furiosa, fully aware of the peril that the biker gang poses to the Green Place, attempts to sabotage their bikes in secret. However, her actions are noticed by the gang members, leading to her mother rushing to her aid. And despite Mary's efforts, Furiosa is apprehended and taken to their leader Dementus, played by Chris Hemsworth. A tense pursuit follows, with Mary eliminating all of the gang members except for one, who manages to reach Dementus' stronghold with the young Furiosa. But while at Dementus' hideout, Furiosa kills the remaining biker so that the secrecy of the Green Place remains intact. Intrigued by Furiosa's bravery, Dementus decides to keep her captive, hoping to extract information about the hidden paradise in the time ahead. We learn that later that evening, Furiosa's mother Mary stealthily infiltrates the biker gang's stronghold in an attempt to rescue her daughter, and by taking advantage of an arriving desert storm, she rescues Furiosa for a short period of time. With Dementus and his crew hot on their heels, Mary is eventually cornered and makes the hard decision to stay behind and keep the gang busy, allowing Furiosa a chance to escape to the safety of the Green Place. Before parting ways, Mary implores her daughter to safeguard their homeland and their people at all costs, and she gives her a seed to hang on to. But tragically, Mary's efforts result in her capture during the battle with Dementus' gang. While she's tied up there, Furiosa bravely returns to rescue her mother, only to find herself once again in the clutches of the enemy. Dementus resorts to tormenting Furiosa in an attempt to extract vital information about the Green Place, using Mary's fate as a weapon against her. And despite enduring the torture of her mother, Furiosa remains resolute and true to her promise, refusing to give them any information. But Dementus forces Furiosa to witness the brutal torture and eventual death of her mother Mary, leaving her with a taste for everlasting vengeance. In the short time ahead, Furiosa is held captive and kept in a cage by him as he and his gang roam the wasteland and cause havoc. And despite her years of silence, she does what Dementus asks of her. We also see that she tattoos a star map to the Green Place on her arm, hoping to get back there at some point in the future. So that was the end of the first chapter of the film, and as we soon learn, it has 4 other chapters that skip to moments during the 15 years of Furiosa's life before Fury Road. In the second chapter, Dementus and his gang encounter a war boy and use him to make their way to the Citadel, ruled by a younger Immortan Joe. Despite underestimating Joe and his army of war boys, Dementus provokes a conflict in an attempt to seize control of the Citadel's resources. However, they are forced to retreat when the war boys launch an attack, showing that they are not intimidated and will even sacrifice themselves to do so. Dementus quickly learns about the trade relationship here between the Citadel and Gastown. So using his crew as a distraction, he makes the journey over to Gastown, the main fuel hub of the wasteland, and takes control of it. With control of the fuel source, Dementus can pressure Immortan Joe into a negotiation with him. And once they meet to discuss the matter, we learn that Joe is intrigued by the younger Furiosa and demands that she be handed over to him as part of a deal, viewing her as a potential future breeder. Joe also asks here that he be given the Organic Mechanic, a character further seen in Fury Road and one that does reside with Joe. Both trades are agreed on, and thus it sets up Furiosa's first moments in the Citadel with Immortan Joe and his gang. With Furiosa now here, after a quick introduction to the wives being held captive by Joe, she quickly learns of his oppressive rule as his savage son Rictus Erectus takes her for his own needs. Furiosa is eventually able to escape his grasp and hides amongst the war boys to keep her identity hidden. Despite growing up in a world of brutality, Furiosa's intelligence and courage also catches the eye of Scrotus, Joe's second son and war commander, who recognizes her potential and then promotes her. Realizing that she needs to wield power to challenge it, Furiosa is able to become a skilled mechanic entrusted with the maintenance of the colossal war rig, the juggernaut vehicle owned by Immortan Joe. This leads us into the next chapter, and we see that Furiosa has now aged and honed her skills. We see that she has teamed with Praetorian Jack, the esteemed general of Joe's forces and driver of the war rig. On their supply run to Gastown, the war rig finds itself under attack by Mortifiers, a biker gang that used to be a part of Dementus' crew. However, Furiosa, showcasing her impressive skills as both a mechanic and a sharpshooter, manages to protect the rig from their onslaught. All of the war boys who were escorting them meet their death during that attack, and in a desperate bid to execute her long-awaited escape plan, Furiosa tries to convince Jack to leave it all behind. Her efforts are thwarted by him though, and instead, Jack offers Furiosa a chance to learn additional ways of survival under him, while promising that she'll get her freedom when the time is right. Despite her initial doubts, Furiosa starts to trust him, which is of course rare for her since losing her mother. So with Jack's guidance, Furiosa uncovers a part of herself she didn't know was missing and opens up about her past and her yearning for her homeland, the Green Place. In a touching moment, Jack shares his own history too, and we learn that he comes from a family with a strong military background where both parents sacrificed everything for a noble cause. Motivated by the need to honour their legacy, he commits to helping Furiosa on her journey and finds some comfort in opening up about his parents. But just when Furiosa thought hope could come their way, Dementus re-emerges when the two of them reach Gastown. Ever since seizing control of Gastown years ago, the flamboyant leader has lost his grip on his followers, causing chaos and threatening Joe with consequences if the supply wasn't increased. In a cunning move, Dementus took over the third fortress of the wasteland, Bullet Farm, and set a trap to lure Immortan to Gastown. Meanwhile, Jack and Furiosa devise a plan to escape during a supply run to Bullet Farm, only to be ambushed there by Dementus' crew. In a heroic act, Furiosa saves Jack, and together they defeat a good amount of Dementus' forces. But while their escape initially seemed successful, we watch Dementus catch up to them in a relentless pursuit. Amidst the conflict, Furiosa suffers a severe injury to her arm, the very arm that bore the tattooed star map to the Green Place, and the same arm that was missing in Fury Road. In a moment of rage, Dementus catches Furiosa and compels her to watch the horrifying torture and death of Jack. Dementus is completely unaware that this is Furiosa, and little does he know that this is not the first time he has cruelly taken someone dear to her heart. Devastated and battered, Furiosa manages to escape his grasp by making the difficult decision to amputate her injured arm. And after finding a relatively safe spot near the Citadel, she falls to the sand unconscious. As fate would have it, a young Mad Max is looking on from the rocks above, and we suspect that he comes to her rescue and leaves her near the Citadel. So it's a cool little nod to Max himself, and while we don't see his face, it shows that his character does have an impact on Furiosa before even meeting her in Fury Road. But when she does eventually awaken, she wastes no time in alerting Immortan Joe and his crew about Dementus' impending attack. Thus begins a prolonged and brutal war between Joe and Dementus, a war that rages on for 40 days. And this brings us to the final chapter of Furiosa, where the central character becomes the figure we know from Fury Road, and the mentioned war comes to a head. Furiosa's heartache over losing her loved ones to Dementus is palpable as she navigates a world devoid of hope. Instead of surrendering to sorrow, she morphs into a fierce warrior, ready to take on any challenge. And with this happening, we see her put on the metal arm and shave her head to forge the iconic look from Fury Road. Furiosa then readies herself for the impending showdown and makes her way outside the Citadel in a beat-down car to face off against remnants of the biker gang, leaving a trail of defeated enemies in her wake. Eventually, she does go beyond to track down Dementus and confront him, and in doing so, she unveils her true self. Once confronting Dementus, he mocks her, suggesting that she has been empty inside since her mother's death. He argues that her quest for revenge is the only thing that's driving her forward, and the brutal violence that defines Furiosa's life is a stark reminder of the part of herself she has lost forever. In this way, she shares an unsettling resemblance to Dementus, who speaks about the loss of his family, moulding him into the person we know. So it becomes quite an interesting conversation, and to be honest, I think it's the kind of moment that I would have loved to have gotten a bit earlier in the film. Still, it was effective, and it led us smoothly into the ending, which transitions us into the events of Fury Road. During the final moments, the film also puts Dementus' fate in mystery as we hear the History Man recount conflicting accounts of his death at the hands of Furiosa. Some claim that Furiosa subjected him to the same torturous end as Mary and Jack, while others believe she granted him a swift death. However, we do eventually learn of the true outcome, and it involves her planting the seed her mother gave her at the beginning within Dementus' body and leaving him hidden in the depths of the Citadel. As time passed, the seed sprouted into a tree, while Dementus endured eternal torment, trapped between life and death. When the tree finally bore fruit, Furiosa presented it to the captive wives of Immortan Joe. This seed, reminiscent of the Green Place, symbolised hope for Furiosa to reclaim her past and share it with other unfortunate women like herself. It was a fitting punishment to let the seed of hope flourish within the very person who had sown vengeance in her heart. So with her mother now avenged, the film ends with Furiosa preparing to depart from the Citadel, taking Joe's wives with her on a journey to her homeland. She smuggles them on board the war rig, something that we also see happen during the events of Mad Max Fury Road. The credits then roll, and key scenes from Fury Road are shown on screen, highlighting Furiosa's quest to reconnect with her past. But if you've seen that film, you'll know that this will ultimately prove futile, as the Green Place has ceased to exist. So with the ending of Furiosa tied nicely into the events of Fury Road, it leaves us thinking about what could be next for the Mad Max Saga. One thing to mention is that the new film features a post-credit scene too, and this turns out to be a very quick glimpse of Nux' bird bobblehead wobbling in a car. Nux was of course played by Nicholas Hoult in Fury Road, and we know that the character died in that film after making the ultimate sacrifice. He's shown bobblehead in the post-credit scene, although not directly related to the characters or the main plot of Furiosa, suggests that there may be more to come in the Mad Max franchise, even if Furiosa's story has reached its end. With there being several intriguing characters from Fury Road, like Nicholas Hoult's Nux, a prequel exploring their backgrounds could be a possible route, but it ultimately leaves us questioning the future of the series. Director George Miller also revealed during the build-up to Furiosa that he had a script for another Fury Road prequel focusing on Max's life before that film and his appearance in Furiosa. So who knows, maybe Nux might play a role in that story because of the mysterious hint in the Furiosa credits. Whatever happens next, it is a cool tease to see, and it suggests that we might get more from the character in the time ahead. We'll have to see what direction it all goes in if we do indeed get another film, and I will be discussing the future of the Mad Max saga a bit more in an upcoming video. But that was my breakdown and analysis for George Miller's Furiosa. I do hope this breakdown did help some of you guys understand the events and smaller details a bit better, and overall, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the film, so don't forget to let me know down below in the comment section. I will also be posting my review and more videos on the film in the coming days, so keep a lookout for whenever I post, and make sure you don't miss any of it. For more videos on upcoming film releases like Furiosa, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.